Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wizards, camels, llamas, and sim racers. This is the SRL TCR Season 8, Round 7 from the Theatre of Speed, that is Thruxton in the UK. We've got looking like 22 to 23 drivers taken to the track today for what will be the fastest race of the year, no doubt. Thruxton always delivers. We've got a lot of regular returning drivers after Zolder last week was a bit of a low affair in terms of turnouts, but this week the numbers are big. The drivers are back, the drivers are fired up, and they're ready to rumble, so to speak. Got a few other drivers that are new to the race tonight. They'll be coming in at the wild card stage, and they probably won't be racing too much of the season, so their points will not be tallying up at this stage. So they'll be coming up as purple on the driver trackers and maps and all those things that you'll see on screen for your pleasure. So let's have a look at the conditions and the introduction for today in the SRL TCR League from Thruxton. It's another 20-degree track there. See someone's going very much sideways. It's Tony Walker. 56% humidity, partly cloudy. It's nice and sunny. It's a classic British summer's day. And what is setting up to be an absolute festival of racing here around Thruxton, which is all going to be down to like playing chess on ice, is the way I describe it, because it can be slippy out there, it can be low grip, your tyres will want to give up, but it's all down to who can be in the right position at the right time to maximise their slipstream and their draft, and potentially make the move when it absolutely matters. There's a number of corners we'll see during qualifying, which will get underway in a few minutes, that are literally hold on to your pants, and who is the bravest of the brave, and how we go from there. So qualifying gets underway in about 2.5 minutes. Practice is coming to an end, which means that we can look at see how the championship is coming along for all those runners and riders. Here we go. Championship standings going into race 7, round 7. Last week was Zolder, and it was a very close affair between Thruxton and Mackenzie, and it showed between championship. Thruxton just ahead of Logan McKinsey by 6 points there, 506 to 500. John Brown maintains his third place of 333 points. Sven Winter is on 315 points. Tom Woodcock, 278 points. Adam Delmont is there with 258. We're not seeing him today, unfortunately, which would be a shame. Wayne Douglas or Gabriel Bonacorsi. We are seeing Dan Mould return to the fray today. See what he can generate on track. We're seeing Zachary Liebold also returning to the track today. He's on 11th place overall, 120 points. And Alex Murphy in 13th there is also on the grid to start today. In the Pro-Ams, we all know how this is looking at the moment. It is a very tight affair in that Pro-Am division. I don't want to call it, but I think a lot of people will be fighting it hard. There's again the difference. 1 point is the lead for Mikalash Pashek over Tony Walker. Craig Walters is only 6 points behind the leader of 347. Cooper Akers is right there, 14 points behind the leaders. And Dan Lewis is sniffing around in 5th place with 319 points. Very much in contention, it's only 34 points. JB Dejay and Kev Aylett fighting out there with 6th and 7th. Not out of contention by all means yet, but it's going to be tight between everybody. Neil Stevenson, 248. He's going to be pushing hard to get some more points on the board again in the hunt still. A good round, some good results. Can actually mean you could jump up quite a bit of points. Stu Gibbons in 9th and Dick Crowder, his teammate, in 10th place. They'll be fighting themselves. Fraser Elphick, Demi Tikacharo, who is also down to join today after he raced his first round last week at where were we last week? Zolder. A very good performance from him. Fought from a late accident in the second feature race, but still got some points. No Matthew Jones or Lewis Delmont. No Luke Jones. Clayton McBollow is not racing here tonight, but Ewan Lakin is a new entry to it. He is the actual entry with Demi Chickenshaw in the Hydro Forces Racing Forces team. No, or something like that. Apologies if I got your name wrong there, boys. Qualifying just about to get us underway there. We're going to take a look at the AMs. This is where the UVA doesn't like session changes. Let's give it a refresh. There we go. AMs. Paul Hurley leads away with 239 points against Scott Malcolm's 230 points. Jack Davies 128, Andy Littler 106, Nick Scotty 46, Mark Kelly 34, Saunders on 15, and Chris Barnes on 13. Tight affair between Hurley and Malcolm. Only Hurley is on track today for the AMs. Unfortunately, not many AMs back out there today, so we'll see what happens. But let's have a look at the team standings. As always, run alongside the pro, all the 3 divisions of pros. This is the teams. SRL Green are on. Let's have a look there. 652 points. JS Vroom are on 587. JS Tryhards 545. House 2D Sports 506. Play Designs on 417. And Dexter Green on 331. Sherry Esports on 315. And JS The Pretenders on 289. Living Motorsport 279. And Northern Racing round out the top 10 on 199. Again, it's too close to call, really. Anyone can be up there winning that. I don't want to call that one. Right then, qualifying is underway. Let's get rid of that. Not that one, Kev. That one. Rookie error, that was. Right, let's get the track map up and running for you all. Qualifying mode should be on. It is. There we go. Right then. As the field just gets underway, 2 minutes in, it's a 15-minute qualifying session, which then leads into 2 races. One is a 20-minute race, and then a 25-minute race with a reverse grid of a top 10 again. So top 10 is now the favourite approach with a slightly smaller grid. If we're running 40 cars on the grid, we'll definitely do top 15, but with 20 cars-ish, 10 is a good number. Top 50% seems to be the norm. It's hard to pick some favourites out. You've got drivers in rich veins of form, so like Dan Lewis. Our first one's in a rich vein of form at the moment as well, as is Logan McKinsey. Dan Mould returns. He's very quick round here normally. It's a tough one to call with Thruxton, because it's all about where you have to be on track at any given time to maximise the draft. I won't want to call this. See cars running around this airfield circuit on board with Paul Hurley. Not really sure actually who we're on board with there. One of the JSLs, Neil Stevenson. Right, so Logan McKinsey's got the first time on the board, 17.04, 4 attempts quicker for Dan Lewis. He's in 17.4. Cooper Rickard, 17.5. Murphy, 17.6. Dan Mole, 17.6. Joe Stevenson, 17.6. Scavale at 17.7. JBJ, 17.9. So they're all fiddling in, all working their way out. Someone goes exceptionally wide there, and that's possibly Kev. Yep. Just running out wide, just having a scenic trip, as some might say. On board with Dick Crowther. As is the norm, we like to jump on board with a couple of the AMs. Pros, Pro-Ams on their out laps, on their hot laps. So we're going to jump on board with and give you a track guide. We'll do the AMs first tonight. We've really got the one AM on track. It's going to be Paul Hurley to guide us through a lap of Thruxton in any second now. And there he is. It is Honda Civic car number 12. Lovely shiny livery there. Chrome and matte mixed. Just an average sim racing the Pretenders team. He comes over the line to start his opening lap. Well, his qualify lap. Currently in 15th place with a 1:19.0. go through the first corner, which is Allard, turn 1. You come sweeping around this sweeper into turn 2, which is Campbell. Want to get cut on the curb there as much as possible, but compromise this exit here. It's the left-hander of Cobb. And you come flat out 4th gear through Seagrave. And round along another sweeper of turn 5, which is the left-hand here, which is Noble. Again, you're flat out pretty much if you're brave. The right-hander of Goodwood. A really tricky right-hander. You want to get tight but run all the way out wide without touching the grass. And then down towards Village, which is this right-hander here. It's still kink. And then Church. This is it, flat out through here. Probably not quite out tires up one yet. Pull just a little lift there. Using all the curbing on the exit there. Through Church. Now this is Brooklyn. This is a long left-hander. It's also a tricky one to get right into the braking zone for Club, which is 10, 11 and 12. Using all of the entrance there. Open up corner nicely. Cross the curbs. Jump across. Nice lap there, Mr. Hurley. And he comes across the line to do a 118.1. So it took a second of his time and moves himself into 17th. Let's have a look at the Pro-Ams. JBJ is... I'm just everyone's come around to finish a lap. Stu Gibbons. Let's stay on board of Stu Gibbons, actually. Always pretty quick round tracks like this in nature. Let's see what Stuart Gibbons can do in his Honda Civic. Z-Run is currently himself is in 15th place. 17.04. Times are coming down. McKinsey's on pole with 16.02. Our 4 wildcards, 3 wildcards stay at Daniel Bond, Sam Smith, Pete McIntyre. I'm sure there's one more. I'm sure people remind me, but excuse me, I think that was probably it actually. So see how we go. We've got a few more pros on the grid this time. Last week was 3 pros, 6 pros, 7 pros, sorry, on track. See Gibbons coming around Goodwood and Village. Can he pin it through Church? Just a little lift on turning, but kept it pretty much pinned on exit. Nicely done, kept the speed up. He runs down to complete another lap. He runs over the line to go 16.82. Moves himself up to 13th on the track. And that would be 7th in class. Nice done. So let's jump on board with a pro. Who is usually pretty quick? Let's jump on board with Dan Mould in a short moment. He is currently on the provisional pole. 16.01. 1,000th quicker than Logan McKinsey, who is 400th quicker than Arthur Fertel, who is a 10th quicker than Zachary Liebold. Tony Walker putting himself in the mix of the pros as well. He's 5th as the leading pro-am, or 5th on track. Leading pro-am position there. 16.27. Arthur Fertel retains the lead. We jump on board with okay. Let's jump on board with Dan Mould as he is on a hot lap now. Taking through the first corner up towards Allard in turn 1. He went to 15.94 was his last lap, so it wasn't quite as quick as Fertel's, who was 15.87. At times are getting quicker as the track comes in to its prime. Using all of the exit, use the curb. Come down towards Noble. Just left-hander, you want to keep it tight to the curb, short of the corner as much as possible. Little feather of the throttle, 5th gear. Not much brake, little bit of a dab probably, but mostly just rolling that throttle through, keeping the speed up. And down towards Church. The Velo is built for this kind of circuit. It is a fast corner, there's a slow car up ahead. That could compromise the lap of Sven Winter. He didn't lift it. Used all of the run. Bouncing off the red line there, 5th into 6th gear as the car runs down towards the club chicane and the final complex of the lap. bounced across the chicanes, losing all of the available cut-off air. A little bit of a pull from Paul Hurley over the line. 15, not quite, 16-17. He probably did get a little bit compromised by Sven at that fast part of Church. Mikuláš Pasek is up to 4th place there, 16.1. The times are coming down. That's not the fastest car on the track. That's not the most exciting car on the track, unfortunately. Which is currently Dick Crowther in pit road. There we go. I had to think about it. We jump on board now with Cooper Akers in just an average sim racer Vroom team, which is 2nd place in the championship. He has been pulling along Neil Stevenson, who is currently the faster car out of the 2 of those teammates. Not by much. Stevenson with a 16.6 and Cooper with a 16.9 as they come round Church flat out. Cooper lets Neil Stevenson go. Got the draft, got the run. And Neil Stevenson get a better lap on the board. 16.67 is his time. Jump on board JB DJ. Now for Fertile, Neil Stevenson did not go faster. Fertile still on top with 15.87 is the lead lap. 4 minutes of qualifying remaining. There's a short lap here, one teens. Tony Walker is currently 2nd in class, 8th on the road. He's 16.27, just pretty much the same time as Sven Winter, but it comes down to a thousandth of a second. Fastest recorded time on track at the moment is 238 kilometres an hour by Logan McKinsey and his Veloster. Not sure what that was. If he missed the corner or not. Everyone else seems to be around the 220s. Okay. Going to work out who's looking quick on track at the moment. No one's really setting the world light. It's Dan Mould, Sven Winter, Tony Walker getting a rundown against Sven Winter. As they race down towards Church, Dan Mould doing very well to keep out the way on the right. Not to interfere with anyone else's laps, because you don't want to be doing that in qualifying. The car's looking beautiful in pristine in this midday sun here. Cars run round the start-finish line. This is the kind of track where qualifying really matters, because it's an easy track to overtake on, but you don't want to be fighting your way through numbers of cars, because as soon as you lose the draft from someone because you're battling with someone else, you instantly are playing catch-up. So let's read through our top 10 while qualifying has got 2 minutes remaining. Arthur Fertile is on pole. Logan McKinsey in now 2nd place with a joint faster time with Dan Mould. That has come down to a thousandth of a second or two as it rounds it up. Dan Mould 3rd, Mikuláš Pasek in 4th for leading Pro-Am. 5th is Alex Murphy, 6th is Zachary Liebold, and 7th is another pro of Sven Winter. Tony Walker is 2nd in class with 8th place on the grid. So far, Sam Smith is our leading wild card in 9th place. Jure Laakinen making his debut in the league as well. He is in 10th place, 3rd in class. Daniel Lewis trying to keep his rich vein of form alive at the moment with 11th on the grid. JB in 12th. Neil Stevenson in 13th, just coming to the pits. That'll be his qualifying over and done with. John Brown, the pro, in 14th place, 7th in class. A bit disappointed with that. He'll be right in the mix of the battle. We've got Stuart Gibbons in 15th, Cooper Akers in 16th, Kevin Ayers in 17th, Dick Crowther in 18th, Daniel Bond of the wild card in 19th, Paul Hurley in 20th, Peter McIntyre in 21st, and also Demi Chiglacher is not taken to the grid. So we're probably going to be 21 cars looking to go live at the beginning. I'm not sure if he's got a technical issue or something else has happened. It does not look like he will be taking on the grid yet. JBJ, the system has picked up a different livery for him tonight, so we can be wary of that in his Elantra. So Alex Murphy with all the Murphys on his car. Be keen to see how he gets on in his opening, or his return to the league tonight. So a couple of rounds already. That's we accidentally click on it. Oh, that's what you've got to be careful of with cars going in the pit road. As qualifying comes to an end, no one's really set the world alight there. So we're going to bring it to an end for you all there. Okay. So we just wait for qualifying to work its way forward. We'll get the grid. Let's get the grid up and running for you all. Boom. There we go. Right then, here's the grid for you. Arthur Fertile takes the pole with a 15.866. Logan McKinsey just 0.074 behind in second, and Dan Mould in third, 0.075. Mikhail Pashek, the lead in Pro-Am, takes us through to fourth place there on the grid, leading Pro-Am there. Alex Murphy in fifth, Zachary Liebold in sixth, Sven Winter in seventh, and Tony Walker in eighth. Sam Smith in 9th, Ewan Likenen in 10th, Dan Lewis 11th, JB Dejay takes us through to 12th, Neil Stevenson in 13th, John Brown the Pro in 14th, mixed up with Pro-Ams, 15th for Stuart Gibbons, and Cooper Akers in 16th. Kevin starts us off on the row there, row 9, with alongside Dick Crowder in 17th and 18th. Daniel Bond, another of our wildcards, in 19th. For Paul Hurley, our only AM, in 20th. 21st and 26nd, sorry, 26th one. It's Pete McIntyre, wildcard, and Demi Tinkachar will not be taken to the grid by all accounts and what is coming across on the radio for us all. So let's get everything nice and set up for you all. That's all what we want to be doing. Let's just get everything nice and set up so you guys don't have to worry about a thing. There's our weather for today. It's looking pretty good. It's going to be a dry race as always. Let's get everything all set up and worried. There's our Fertile. He's on the grid. He's ready to go. Right, people. Are we ready? As the cars chirp away. So we've got a few positions to grid up at the front there. So we're just revving and getting themselves going. Fixed setups on these cars. That's decided by the SRL admins. Generally the same setup at each race, sometimes a variance of fuel. I are told intention of fuel might be a push for race 2, the 25-minute race. That is deliberate. Racing is not about driving fast all the time, it's about driving sensibly. We shall see. There's our first one in his Altitude Esports car. Battle for the pole. Here we go. Cars all on the grid. Logan McKinsey is on there. He's in the... There we go. Everyone's revving up the lights. You're going to go green any second. Wait for Barney's flag. Go, go, go. And they are green for the start. Every car pulls away from the grid nicely. Nice quick starts. These cars are notoriously good to get going as they all peel away down the first corner and running round towards Allard, the first right-hander, which is always a fun corner for everyone. A bit of heavy braking, hopefully nothing to contact. Everyone meanders their way through. Nicely done. There's contact between Sven Winter already. Was that Mikhail Pashek being pushed out wide? I think it was Pashek. He's been pushed wide. Daniel Lewis taking advantage. A bit of door-to-door combat. There's just a serious going around. That's Paul Hurley in the background. Contact with possibly one of the wildcard cars. The cars all stream around. Dan Lewis is taken to the grass using the Quattro of that Audi. Got to be careful on the rejoin. That is tough around Goodwood to get back on track at speed as they disappear around Village. They are 3 wide. And Dan Lewis again off on the grass. Might have some damage, so he's keeping out of the way as they go flying through Church. Logan McKinsey and Arthur Fertile are there right next to each other. Oh, contact! That is high-speed contact between Dan Mould and Mikhail Paszek. Oh, sorry, no, Alex Murphy. Not sure what happened there. Was it a free car contact? We'll watch that at the end of the race. As the cars complete their first flying lap. There's definitely some contact. Probably going into that club chicane for Mould, possibly Sven Winter and Alex Murphy. It was a big crash. We've got 6 cars showing on pit road already. Paul Hurley is one of them, as the AM. Hopefully they can get their fast repairs done and sorted. Lots of contact on that opening lap, but most of it was pretty much door to door as the cars whiz their way round. I say it's all high speed now. It's all sticking in the draft of the car in front, which JB DJ there trying to keep pace with Mikhail Paszek. Jura Laakinen, our new guy in the league tonight for the Hydro Force racing team with Demi Chiclacho as well. He is running in 2nd place in class, 8th on the track. Tony Walker has made 4 places to go into 4th place overall. Great start from Tony. Another big climber was Sven Winter. He moved up 4 places, probably down to a couple of accidents there. Sam Smith mixing it up with the guys in the wildcard position there. John Brown made 7 places, up to 7th place, so he took advantage of that poor qualifying to make it up there as we watch Neil Stevenson and Kev Aylett. Dyson Fruit was a slow car there, Paszek and Neil Stevenson almost went into the back of him there as the 3 just average sim racing cars are all close together, working as a pack. You never know. And so you come around the right hand side there, door to door with Jura Laakinen. It's a great move there from Neil Stevenson. And Kev Aylett looking to go around Paszek, a little bit of contact. Had to back out of it there, Kev did. And in comes on the inside is Cooper Akers. They're side by side. Great rivals and friends. What can they do? And that's contact there. Kev took a wallop off the curb. As we see Paszek looking to hang on to the back here of Jura. And Jura's just clinging with Neil Stevenson. And JB DJ has moved to 2nd in class. So he's caught up well. And we've got a bit of action going on here with Dick Crowther and Daniel Bond. Plenty going on. Kev is right behind Daniel Bond. He took a bit of a penalty from a bit of contact with Mickey Lash. We had to back out of the corner. It was on the wrong line. There's Cooper Akers, 6th place in class, 12th on the road. Championship contenders we saw from the standings at the beginning. We've got a slow car on the right. That's probably Europe. I'm guessing he's had a slow down. They've got Paszek off the track. That Crowther taking advantage. 2 wide through Allard. Into the right-hander of Campbell. First heavy braking zone. Using as much curbing on the right as you dare. Cooper sticking to the back of Paszek as they run round. Just trying to work out, do we jump on board with another car here? We have got roof cams available today again. No drones, unfortunately. And we're just going to see if we can hop on board anyone shortly. So it just settles down now with Daniel Bond. So we've got cars close together up ahead. He's fighting with Jura. Side by side it goes Jura Laakinen up the inside. Why are we watching this car when there's nothing else going on? Side 2 wide through club. There we go. You're at the end of a slowdown. Possibly. There's Stuart Gibbons threading the needle. Oof. Hello. Oh. There we go. You've got to turn the camera, sends them right on board of Euro as he chases down Kev Aylett there. This is all tight. We'll have Stuart Gibbons in front as usual. The outside there. Slow car inside us, Dan Mould. He's not long come out of pit lane, so he's battling. These are the last cars actually on track in terms of position. Next car behind is 14 seconds further back as we race down towards there's the club chicane as they run round. These guys are apparently the most exciting on track, so Cameron's going to stick with these guys as we jump back to Deck Crowther and Cooper Acres. Watch the car climb the curves. That's Tony Walker running in fourth place still. Still got off a first in sight there. Logan McKinsey and Sven Winter are first and second in the class. We are 7 minutes into the race. He's moving along quickly. It's a 20-minute race. Probably around 16 laps they might squeeze in there as the cars run around flat out through church. Tony Walker trying to hang on to his leading trio of cars and do his points. He was like Zach Liebold as two riders, Sam Smith going into club. Gets the move done. John Brown just trying to get onto the back of Sam Smith. It's probably much easier to fall out of that draft. You kind of fall back into the cars behind quite quickly if they're working together. So I imagine like Cooper Acres and Deck Crowther would actually stick together quite nicely. So we watch Kevin Hunt trying to get close to Stuart Gibbons, and in turn they're trying to get close to Daniel Bond and Deck Crowther themselves. So this is what can happen. You get little groups all bundled together as the cars run round into Campbell, and then the left hander of Cobb bounce over the curbs, use that to your advantage. Eura's looking to get back against Kev as well here. That Elantra. Shallow exit there from Kev. But he's still on the pace. Logan McKinsey is 2 seconds clear at the head of the field against Sven Winter. So that's a good start from Sven. Kev using the grass to his disadvantage, just going to slow him down. Somehow didn't. Great from hand sticking it out there, but it's not going to improve his chances of catching up with Stuart Gibbons in front. But it's all about closing. They are closing slowly on the car, on the group ahead. And Dan Mould, who was lapped behind them. Just got a big bounce off the curb there. That would have slowed him down for the exit through club and on the start-finish line. Euro looking feisty. Gibbons got to slow down. That won't help. That won't help the little train of cars. There's Crowther now. And Daniel Bond just behind him. Canada and Larkinen use themselves to each other's advantage. We jump back to the front with Arthur Fertel and Sven Winter. What's going on there? Big gaps between the four. Kind of a draft train now, I'd imagine. Back to Cooper and Deck. I think we've lost Neil Stevenson somewhere, unfortunately. Looking at that, he's jumped to pit lane. These three are trying to push each other forward. Can they catch up to Mikuláš Pashek, who is a little bit in no man's land himself, so it actually could work in their favour. There's Kevin Eura, they are also very tight to each other. JB Dejay is a lap down with Paul Hurley as they come round with Dan Lewis as well, they're complete. Over the start-finish line. See, they're slowly but surely just reeling in the cars in front. Just gives them a bit of breathing room against that Lancer. A little bit squirrely under braking. There's Deck Crowther in the magnificent Blades design livery. And the equally recognisable, just average sim racer livery of Cooper Acres in front. Clean versus the chaotic. Cooper and Deck quite a few positions apart in the championship table, but Deck is one of those drivers that will always be present. He will always be around. It's all about the pressure that he can put under Cooper Akers. As they go through church flat out. And your Bond is sticking to the back of Deck Crowther. Cavella is a little bit of breathing room between him and Ura. Kevin's up 5 places. Here's these 3 guys here. Lewis. We got Lewis, Hurley, and Jay. Hurley getting out of the way. He's a lap down. So, and Jay is pushing down Lewis forward. I think Jay is a lap down. So he lets Hurley through. Back on board with Europe. Dan Mould closing these guys. Dan Mould will be quick, but he is lap down, so he shouldn't really interfere. Shouldn't need to feel like he needs to interfere. Bounce over the curbs. I mean, these guys are closing in slowly. They are doing faster times than the guys ahead of them, which is the important thing. They're probably about 2 to 3 tenths quicker. So they are working together. They are pushing each other along. So they think for some reason these guys are the most exciting because there's nothing else going on. Because to be fair, the biggest gap on track is the closest gap is these guys. So they go flying through church. Dan Mould right in the mix here. Don't know if he needs to be right on the tail here like this. Here comes Crowther as we jump back again. Yeah, it's all tight. If it's a tight affair, Crowther and Cooper are close. Tony Walker's just jumped across above Arthur Fertile. I'm guessing that's a slowdown. There it is. There's Walker and Fertile. To the right-hander of Campbell. Then into Cobb. Zach Liebold right on the tail of Tony Walker as well and Fertile. This is going to become a bit of a battle as well. Fertile doesn't want to lose any points out here. Tony Walker is looking very comfortable here in terms of Pro-Am win. As it stands, we are 13.5 minutes into the race, 6.5 to go. Round Goodwood they go. Down towards Village and Church. Walker just giving himself a little bit of a gap over Fertile there. Is Fertile got to touch damage something? Or curb hit too hard? I don't know. There comes the velocity of Zachary Liebold right behind him to give Fertile something to worry about. Because once these velos are up to speed and in the draft, they are mighty. And they do take the last chicane exceptionally quick as well. Because they ride the curbs beautifully. The Honda needs to be a little more careful. Zach a little bit wider on the exit there. You can see Sam Smith just behind them, but just falling off the pace a touch. Now Walker, this is where the game of chess comes into hand with here at Thruxton. You can kind of let them get close to you, other than take an early break and let them fall back because they got too close, or even let them pass and use them to pull you along if they're the faster driver. In this situation, it's a tough one to go when you've got a bit of time left, because you don't want to lose the draft ever around here. You want to stay with someone all the way around. So Fertile and Walker. This is also for outright podium as well. Fertile is 4th on track, 3rd in class, but to finish outright podium is also a big win for anyone out of the top class. At the moment, Honda has got a good pair of legs on that Veloster through the twisty stuff. There's Mackenzie, there's Sven Winter. They've got Murphy in the middle of them both. These cars run themselves down through Brooklands towards Club. Into the final chicane. Yeah, Walker is doing a grand job here of keeping ahead of Fertile. And Fertile hasn't really got an answer. Zach Liebold looks like a slowdown, acts like a slowdown, and is a slowdown. That will hurt him. Here's Cooper Akers, Deck Crowther, and Daniel Bond all running still in that trio. But that gap has come down. It's Kev Aylett, Dan Mould, and Hugh Larkin behind Dan Mould. So Dan Mould has certainly inserted himself into a battle he didn't need to insert himself into. Deck Crowther going for the move around the outside of Cooper Akers, holding his line, and for left-hander of Cobb. Who's going to have the bravery? Cooper got the power down. Great move there. But can it compromise the rest of the straight? Because I think Daniel Bond is having a little sniff here. All it takes is one slightly compromised corner, and you compromise the rest of the lap here at Thruxton. And I've got a sneaky feeling that may have just happened to Cooper. You just see the gap. It's closer than it's ever been between these guys. I think he might have just got away with it. The Velo does have the legs on the straight line when he gets that top band of power. Through Church. The cars look absolutely magnificent running through here. The cars run down towards Club. And jump on board with Mr. Crowther. The leap across the curb. You can see the trio behind. Run round. This is back on board with the guys. That's trio that's behind. Dan Mould inserting himself into a battle that he doesn't need to be doing, in my opinion, but that's the commentator's opinion. But maybe Kev can use it to his advantage. Dan Mould is quicker. Dan Mould sniffing up the inside. That's going to be a bit off-putting. Don't leave the door open in, Kev. And that's going to allow you through. Well, that's going to be annoying. Yeah, especially on the inside there, because someone's got to back out of that. They go too wide through Church. Always a great viewpoint, that. The cars run down towards Club. It would be a little bit disappointed losing a position there. 6 in class, 13th on the road. Has made up a few places where he started. He knows Thruxton is not his greatest of tracks. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Right, we are 18.5 minutes to go. Logan McKinsey is comfortably out in front of Sven Winter, and Tony Walker is still holding off Arthur Fertel. Dick Crowther still hunting Cooper Akers. We've not seen a lot of overtakes before. Here comes Dan Mould pushing Daniel Bond along, and Dan Mould is probably looking for fastest laps here. To be honest, it's 15.94 is the fastest lap of the race. I think yes, it is. So he is the purple time. That's what he's after. There is a point for that. 10 points being prizes. So got a little bit of shimmy. Here comes Ura, taking the move on Dan Bond. Can Kev make it up on Dan Bond as they go through? Oh, that's tight. That was at the pack there. Here is Ura making his debut. Now Hydro Racing Forces livery car there. Cars one down to Campbell. This is possibly the last lap of the race, I imagine. It might not be, actually. It's going to be a tough one. No, it probably will be. We're going to jump on board with Logan McKinsey. Arthur Fertel's just crashed. Arthur Fertel was just crashed out. Oh, we didn't quite catch that at the time. That's the problem. So we'll catch that in the highlights, no doubt. Here comes Logan McKinsey in his pink Honda Civic. He has made the car change from his Veloster. Over curbing for the final time at Club to win the Heat 1 race by a country mile on some comparisons for Thruxton. That's Alex Murphy, the lap down behind. Sven Winter takes second. Tony Walker takes their third place on the road, and the win of the Pro-Am. Zach Liebold is fourth. Sam Smith in the wild card comes home in fifth place. Bashek in sixth. John Brown in seventh. Cooper Akers in eighth. He comes over the line there, followed tightly by Dick Crowther, who's too wide of Dan Mould. but that is not for position. That's Eurolocaden comes home in 5th, Daniel Bond in 11th, and Kevez in 12th. Stu Gibbons brings it home there. 13th from Dan Lewis, still circulated out on track in 14th. A lap ahead of the guy behind him, which is JB DJ. There we go. Actually classified runners as they all come over the line. Woo. Well, that was a lot of drifting, lots of drafting, should we say? Not much drifting on that side of things, but that was, you know, all about the timing, all about the meticulousness, and how it all goes from there. Whew. Let's take a look at the results first of all, actually, because I think that's going to be the thing that we look at. Ooh, wrong button almost. There we go. That's the results of race 1. Dan Moore was 2 laps down, actually. So this is the pros. Logan McKinsey, winner by 2 seconds, and Sven Winter. Zach Liebold is 4th with John Brown. 5th, Arthur Fertel, and 6th, Alex Murphy, and 7th is Dan Mould. In your pro-hams, certainly hotly contested. Tony Walker with the winner. Miklas Pashek in 2nd. Cooper Akers 3rd. Podium for him. Nicely done. Deck Crowell in 4th. Euroliken in 5th. Kevin in 6th. Stuart Gibbons in 7th. Dan Lewis, JBJ. And Neil Stevenson bringing out the end there. Demonstrated is showing as scored, but not unfortunately on track. There's been a single am on field. Here's the Pretenders of Paul Hurley. Congratulations to you, sir. I think he was a lap down in the end, but still finished on track and still classified. Good job. And then your wild card: Sam Smith, Daniel Bond, and Pete McIntyre, who Pete McIntyre had a first lap instantly with Paul Hurley. So we'll take a quick break. We'll get the replays up and running and scheduled for you, and then we'll see you in a few seconds. Okay, so lovely replays have got us ready. Let's have a look at what happened at the beginning, basically. There were some incidents that happened. Let's see what happens. That's a Paul Hurley gone left. Trying to see if we can find one a bit earlier. Here we go. Let's so it's the first corner. Paul Hurley is the guy at the back there. Next up, I Deck Crowther. We'll see what happened here with Hurley. Oh, yep, that's the problem. This is from a different angle. Hurley getting a big slide on, and oh, contact. Yeah, that's going to end someone's race pretty quickly, unfortunately for Pete McIntyre. Until Dan Lewis having a bit of off-roading into the back of JBDJ. Took a nice big wallop out the back there. Rejoined. I think he has some damage, or did he? Because he then went off again. Yeah, just drove off track there. I think he has some damage. I think it's probably the sensible thing to do. Paul Hurley went off track on his own. He was damaged. No, just drove off track and towed, probably. Stu Gibbons off track, apparently. Taking a big, we saw this one, I think, live. Big off track. You do get a slowdown there as well for that. So that would be impact him. Dan Lewis. So we've got an off track. He's still damaged and fighting his way back there. Unfortunately. Right, this is the big one, I think. This is the one that we saw at the end of the last lap. Let's get Chopper Coop outcome on this. You've got Sven Winter, Murphy. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. That was huge, but it happened so quickly. Let's see if we can get a better shot. Let's see if we do this in slow-mo. Here we go. This happened so quick, it's hard to... You don't really know what happened. Obviously, it's flat out along here. You've got 3 wide now. 4 wide, technically, I suppose. And Sven on the right, Alex Murphy in the middle, Dan Mould on the left, Zach Liebold on the right. Sven, does he move across? God, it could be net code, it could be anything. And Dan Mould saw that coming, he's on the brakes. Might be for the corner as well, but he had nothing he could do about that. and they are dispatched to Mr. Barrier quite quickly, unfortunately. Has that got a... Yep. Slow down, imagine it. Neil Stevenson, and off track, trying to chase down JBDJ. So I was just off track on a cut there. Let's see if we got anything else. Zach Liebold went off track. This is probably just running track limits. Yep. Oh yeah, big twitch on the exit there. A bit of slowdown for that. Mikulash Pacek off track. Oh, don't know what he's doing over there. There's a big JBDJ and Neil Stevenson crash here. We're gonna... Let's have a look. Contact, is that... Ooh. Well, I'll tell you one thing, we have to have a look at that in a different way. Just... If we got too far back there, am I not too far back here? Let's watch it from a bit further back. That's a bit of a crazy crash as well. We didn't see that on the broadcast. Stevenson Stevenson might have had a slowdown there. No, it's not going to pick it up. So we'll watch it from this angle. J. Oh, he's moving. Oh, that's unfortunate for Neil Stevenson. One of the unluckiest guys around, that is. I think J for me moved a little bit under braking, but that's just something quick to observe. New Lankan passing Kev. Off Fertile went off track. Now, we don't know what happened to Fertile. He did just disappear towards the end of the race. Struggle to see where it happened. Chasing down Tony Walker here. This might... It's one of those ones where I wonder if it's you had a net code. Not really sure. It's not picking anything up for him, unfortunately. Sam Smith running off track. I'd be keen to know what happened to Arthur, because obviously with championship battles like that, something must have happened. So we'll just skip it through, see what happened. Maybe it wasn't a net code or packet loss or something. Ooh, a bit of skitch under braking there. That's an invalid lap because of the drive-through. Got Zach Liebold for company behind him. You know, slow down. Possible slowdown. That's why is Zach by. He's not. Oh, he's pulling over. It's a pullover. That's not really sure what happened there. Can't really explain that one, unfortunately. Okie dokie. Right, that is all the incidents. So yeah, a couple of big high-speed contacts of not a lot of actual contact between the cars, which is what happens at a place like Thruxton. You know, it doesn't take much for it to happen, and it doesn't. So we'll end now the bit for the first race, and we'll come back in a few moments to start the feature race. 25 minutes slog, that is. Thruxton with lots of cars. 21 to be exact, and a reverse grid of the top 10 is coming up next on SRL TV. Hello and welcome back to the feature race of round 7 of the SRL TCR League Season 8. It is the reverse grid race. It's 10 places of the reverse grid, so if you finish 10th, you start on pole, and that is exactly where Jura Larkinen finds himself. He's the poleman in his first race of the season. For the second race, Dick Crowther's in second, with Cooper Akers in third. John Brown, the leading pro for this reverse grid, in fourth, and Miklas Paszek in fifth, with Sam Smith, the wildcard, in sixth. Zach Liebold in seventh, with Tony Walker in eighth. Sven Winter and Logan McKenzie round out the top 10 on row 5. Daniel Bond in 11th, Kev Aylett in 12th, Stuart Gibbons 13th, Dan Lewis starts 14th, Arthur Fertel 15th, and Alex Murphy 16th. Interesting to see how quickly Arthur Fertel can move his way through the field. JB Jay and Paul Hurley are 17th and 18th, Dan Mould in 19th, and Neil Stevenson in 20th. Pete McIntyre starts 21st, and unfortunately we won't be having Dennis Tiglichar taking the grid for this race either, fortunately. Right, let's get the race screens up and running for us all. I think it's pretty much everything. There we go. I'll put it on most exciting for you all. There we go, there's the grid all formed up nicely. We are a few seconds away from Barney dropping the green. So we flip to Jura Larkinen, the poleman. Dick Crowther, and the revs are peaking. Here we come. Get ready for that flag to drop. It's going to be any second. 3, 2, 1. And we're green at Thruxton for race 2, the feature race. Cars leaping off the grid with great starts to the back for Stuart Gibbons and Dan Lewis, typical of those two, as the cars roar down to the first corner of Allard and then round to the left, right hander of Campbell. It's a good start by everybody. Can't take it to the grass. That's Paul Hurley running it off there. And contact for Stuart Gibbons into Dan Lewis. Can't contact. Oh, and into contact with Dan Bond. Oh, we've got a rebound of the barrier. That was quite a big one. I think Gibbons might have lost it just by himself. We'll check that obviously after the race and run from there. But we've got Logan McKenzie and Dick Crowther running themselves through Noble into Goodwood. This is a high-speed first lap. A couple of drivers making quick gains there, which is Sven Winter up 3 places already. Alex Murphy up 4 and Dan Mould up 6. Neil Stevenson's also up 5 places there. It's a tight grid. It's a tight field. And this is the thing about this league. Everyone is of a very similar pace. And will push each other to the limit as the cars go through church. So dancing around the cars. Into the sunset, contact behind. Oof. Talk about leaping that one over the barriers. That's off first. We're getting swiped there. Sam Smith going off. Someone took the rear end off him. Oh, that's, yeah. That was tight. And there's Tony Walker. And Dan Mould going past him. Tony Walker's dropped a couple of places here. Paszek's dropped 7 places. So he's had a little bit of contact himself. Stevenson's up 6, as we mentioned there. Dan Mould, our first was up 7 places to 8th place now, along with Alex Murphy. He's up 7. Staggeringly good performance to get going from there as the cars work their way down through Goodwood. Niklas Paszek has got Kev up his backside here. They had a couple of close quarters battles at the beginning of the race as well. Paszek does have the faster pace, but he'll be keen to... What, they go fly through there. Look at that jink of direction change there. Behind Kevin is stablemate Neil Stevenson, and you got Paul Hurley a bit further back, where Cooper Akers in second. Euro Larkin in the lead. Kev didn't go for the move there. That's a sensible choice to make on the blind side into the sun. The cars complete the second lap and into the third lap now. Down towards Campbell, the right-hander. Cars are pretty close, and that is Dan Mole making the move on Alex Murphy. Didn't quite get it right. Pasek and Aylett still very close to each other. Tony Walker and Mould and Murphy. So everyone is still within distance there. The cars go too wide still. Jay and Stevenson. Hurley trying to keep tabs to those guys. This is all tight racing. It's a 25-minute race, so it's a fuel, as we've heard, could be a stretch if you're not efficient. Murphy, Mould gets around Murphy. Walker using a lot of curb on the inside there, and he's trying to hold up on Murphy there. He's nice and close to him. Can he get the run into the club chicane? Pasek's also hovering around looking for an opportunity. Very late on the brakes there, but got close and close. He got a little bit skitty under the brake, you know. That upset his brake balance through there. Which means Jay and Neil Stevenson will come up close. Pasek is very keen to get past Walker. These two guys are probably the top two drivers in the Pro-Ams at the moment in terms of championship points. So this is all for position and championship bragging rights, as they would say. Oh, bumper to bumper. Up at the front now, we've got Euro Larkin. He is comfortably in the lead by a second. Cooper Akers pretty close behind him. Zach Liebold leading pros in third, with Sven Winter, Logan McKinsey, John Brown all hunting them down. In fact, we've not really seen much happening at the front, so let's hop our way over that way and see what is occurring. Here we go, as they go through the sunset. Board with Cooper Akers, the JS Vroom team. Up to turn 11, 12. The club chicane. Heavy braking area. You can make places up here if you're brave. That's close to a slowdown for Euro. Possibly for John Brown as well there. It's all going to be tight. It's all going to be tight. Euro just seems to have the legs in that Elantra, which is good to see. Zach Liebold will be keen to get past Cooper Akers quickly. But Cooper, as we know, is no easy man to go past, and is also quick himself. Zach Liebold's had a few contacts himself this season with other drivers, so he'll be keen to not get into unnecessary contacts by getting impatient at all. Cars run their way around Goodwood, down through Village. Church is cool, and Cooper's gone off there onto the grass. That's going to allow Zach Liebold through as they go too wide down. Sven Winter's going to look for an opportunity, and he is too wide. A little bit of door to door, but that's fair enough. Just to let him know that he's there. That's good driving through the three of them there. Cooper will be disappointed with that bit of driving as Logan comes through, possibly in towards club. There goes Logan up on the inside. Cooper will be disappointed, I think. One slip of the wheel, and all of a sudden you are fighting back. In the wrong place, Logan giving the flashes to Sven. And we're back here with Tony Walker with Kev Aylett right behind him. Those two always seem to be tight at some point during a race, at some point during the season. There's JB DJ having a sniff around the back of Kev Aylett's bumper. This is a tight little battle. This is the Pro-Am battle. This is for 4th, 5th and 6th in the Pro-Ams. Mickey Lash has not pulled away. And he shows some good hot lapping pace, but he hasn't actually pulled away with that hot lapping pace. Can Kev defend against JB DJ, a good friend of his? Know each other's driving pretty well and know each other's limits pretty well as well. Here comes Tony Walker looking to go round Pasek. Can Walker make it happen in Church? No, he can't. He's backed out. probably for the sensible, as the cars run their way through church. This is exactly where it needs to be for everybody. Maybe Jay taking a bit of an off track there, will slow him down a touch, and that will allow Neil Stevenson into that mix again. We've dropped one place from where we started, but Dan Mole's your biggest mover, up 9 places into 10th place at the moment, and hunting down the positions in front. They in a train of the top 10 is less than 10 seconds apart realistically through that entire field. So yeah, it's going to hot up. It is a 25-minute race. We're only 8 minutes in, and no one has played their hand yet at the front. So I expect it to come to life a bit more. And there's a right on the bumper of JBJ is Neil Stevenson. So we'll just watch Kevin circulating behind Tony Walker and Miklas Paszek. The leading pro at the moment is Jura Laken, who's also leader on track. Cooper Akers in 2nd place is doing a fine job there. He's down 2, but he's doing a sterling job of keeping Arthur Fertile behind and keeping up with Logan McKinsey. And your 3rd place in Prams is Deck Crowther. I'll show you on the screen. There we go. That's how it looks in class overall. And Lewis and Stu Gibbons have fallen off the lead lap. Pete McIntyre, Sam Smith and Daniel Bond have also had incidents. Pete McIntyre is circulating at the moment in the wildcards. Paul Hurley ticking along quite nicely on the back of a lot of these guys, but as we join the front. We were joining the front there. Tony Walker, he's looking to go inside of Paszek. It's his tight. Not through Allard. Can Kev keep him on the toes as well? Because he made one mistake. Another car comes through. So Kev's trying to push Walker through there. Looking for the switchback. 2 switchbacks. Got a good drive. Great drive from Aylert. Can he push Walker around? Not quite. Not quite. Just run out of road. Run out of width. Will we see the average shuffle, and Walker got very wide there, and that could compromise this next corner if you're not careful, but he got it down tight nicely and just got the block on Kev as they round Goodwood and Village fast corners. JBJ offline there, but that's nothing wrong with that. It's just making people think about it. Through Church, this is a flat out section if you're brave. That's good use of a track from everyone there. Really on the limit there. Stevenson and DJ right behind, causing problems for each other. Kev looking for the shuffle on the braking, didn't quite get it right. Yeah, it's one of those things, if you get out of the braking line, JBJ sneaking up there, really good on the brakes. Kev doesn't look as confident through that section as some of the other drivers, so something to think about for next time when he comes here. Stevenson still giving JBJ something to think about, as Zach Liebold is now the new leader. How did that happen? I do not know. That just happened really randomly. Because Zach Liebold was behind Cooper Akers, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes ago. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but we've got it flagged up as a marker. So we'll certainly come back. There's Deck Crowther with Alex Murphy and Dan Mould right behind. On board with Sven Winter up in 3rd place with Jura right behind. There's 2 Scandinavian sounding names. Whether or not they are or not is another one for thinking about it. Jura really presenting himself really well this start of his first race here in the SRL TCR League. Hopefully we'll see more of him as they go into the beautiful sunset. Scream their way around Allard. Such a committed corner when you get it right. There's Cooper. Into Campbell. Zach Liebold. Be keen with that. Bit of fresh air between him and Jura. And Sven Winter. Big jump across the curb there. I imagine that probably didn't help him, but it seems to have helped him. Logan McKinsey is flirting around there behind Sven. It's get really spicy soon, in a good way. Zach just stretching his legs a touch there. He's got the best lap so far, 15.85. So he's got the pace when he's got open fresh air. Maybe it's just in traffic that he could struggle in a touch. Dan Lewis off the track somewhere. He is a lap down already. If we watch our 4 leaders, Euro takes a very early line into there. Well, that's probably the line for the Elantra compared to, say, Hondas or Velos. We watch the 2 Velos of Fertile and Cooper. And Cooper's sticking to Fertile very nicely here. Pushing each other round. Stu Gibbons is showing us in pit lane, and not on. No, that's a long time ago. Unfortunately, yeah, that's lap 1, wasn't it? End of a lap 1 incident, I believe. So it was Euro and Sven. They're all just posturing themselves, getting everyone just not showing a hand yet. Whoop, that's Sven going a long way wide, and Logan's going to take advantage of that. And that's going to set Logan free, absolutely. Don't want to be doing that too often there, Sven. It's going to bring Arthur and Cooper close to him. John Brown is just trying to hang on to the back of Arthur and Cooper's battle ahead. There's a leap over the club chicane. We are 14 minutes into the race, 10 minutes to go, definitely into the second half now. Everyone's very much in the rhythm. Not much actually going on elsewhere. Walker and Ayla are still so close to each other. There's Dan Mole trying to push his way through, catching his stablemate of John Brown. That is Alex Murphy behind Dan Mould. There's Logan now. He's catching up with Ura. So this makes things interesting, because if he gets past Ura quite easily, can he catch Zach? And is he going to bring Sven with him? But everyone is still there. Everyone can still see the leaders. Sven taking a really wide line. That's not really hurting his tyres. Lots of scrubbing. As we watch Dan Mould and John Brown coming through. Dan Mould has absolutely reeled in John Brown here. Half a second a lap at the moment. Staggering pace. Who's got the more commitment through Church? Jump back to the leaders. Slowly but surely, he's catching Ura. He's around 2 tenths a lap quicker at the moment. Back to Mould and Brown. Makes the shimmy, makes the move. Didn't go for it. And we... Oh, sorry, I thought we lost someone in, but we haven't. The way that just disappeared. See what's Logan McKinsey just hovering around. Again, not making this obvious which way he's going to do it. This is the thing, you don't want to show what hand you're going to be trying, because then people just start playing with defensive mode and not really making it work. It is finally poised. We see Arthur has just gapped Cooper a little bit now, but that's going to bring Cooper close to Dan Mould, I feel. Now can Logan going to show his hand coming up here? I'm not sure. It's going to be an interesting one. Crowther and John Brown. John Brown must have had a moment somewhere. It's Pashek. There's Walker. Walker has dropped Ayla. In fact, Ayla's long gone. What happened to Ayla? He's behind Stevenson and Dijay. He must have had an off track. Yep. So that's a bit of a disappointment there for Kev. Crowther keen to get a good result. He's not had the best run of results this season so far. Good pace, but the luck hasn't quite gone his way. It's just a turnaround in form. Currently occupying 3rd place on the Pro-Am podium. Hunting down a pro in front, that is John Brown. And also in a Civic, with another Civic of Pasek right behind. And then a Civic of Walker. Lots to do. Lots happening. Lots to think about. Lots that could happen. Larkin and McKinsey are 0.1 apart. Hoping the director sends us back that way any second. McKinsey's got past Larkin. Fortunately, we didn't catch it. Alex Murphy has passed Dan Mould, and Dan Mould's repassed him. Those two are battling away nicely. It's probably just in the braking zones. Now we've got Pasek. He's putting some pressure on Crowther here. Crowther just showing good drive out the corners here. I think sometimes with Thruxton, you get these kind of positions form. It's very hard to make inroads into the car in front because of the draft. Especially when you've got 3, 4, 5 cars in front, all drafting each other. The draft train is certainly at the station. So as you can see, the kind of inroads that were being made, I think that's people's tyres just started to feel the heat a little bit. As the cars run round the Brooklands loop as such, a long sweeping left-hander, as we see Stevenson, DeJay and Aylett behind. Yeah, it's settled down, it's nice. I think we could do being a few more people going for a move would be nice. It's just past Euro, so Euro's just dropping down now to 4th. So it's Liebold, McKinsey, Winter. Can Fertile now capture Larkinen along with Cooper. So Larkinen and Cooper are bringing themselves into a battle for the Pro-Am win. Here, they are 2 seconds apart with 5 minutes to go. Cars disappear into the sunset there. Brown still being hassled by Crowther. Pasek still just hovering as well, hoping for a mistake between Crowther and Brown. Tony Walker is still there as well. These are all championship battles. Crowther still up in that 3rd place on the Pro-Am podium. I think Cooper and Eura probably got locked out for those guys. Car's running right. Neil Stevenson with a long way off track. In the background there, Crowther looking to so 4 minutes to go now. And they've run through Cobb, Seagrave. Crowther is maintaining that position. Pasek hasn't got any questions that Crowther has not been able to answer yet, but Crowther has also not been able to ask any questions of John Brown, the 7th placed pro and 9th place on track car. As John Brown got answers. He's 3rd in the championship, just for consistency. Has he got that pace? Has he got the dream to push it on further? Can Crowther make a mistake? Force him to make a mistake. Time is ticking. 3 minutes to go. I'll make it as 3 laps. Pretty much. Zach Liebold, Logan McKinsey. It is 0.7 of a difference between them. I think what we're going to do, we're going to jump back in here to the leaders now. Let's see how they're getting on. And there we go. As we rotate the camera around, just beat us to it. There's Liebold, there's McKinsey. Winter is a little bit further back himself. But Logan will be hoping to gain advantage here. These are points to be made on Arthur Fertile as the season progresses. So this is round 7. McKinsey had a good first race. And now it's all down to points. It's all down to position. Can the pressure be built by Logan McKinsey as we enter 2 minutes to go? It's 2 laps to go. 2 laps we've got remaining now. Zero runs all the way out to the outside. We're going to watch this lead battle to the end now. Dan Lewis is at a moment of track further behind. Paul Hurley is still on the lead lap as the only am in the field, but doing a good job there. Still maintaining good pace. Ayla and Dejay are second apart from each other. Kevin did get back against Dejay. He's dropped a bit behind Neil Stevenson himself. Patrick and Tony Walker are still there, with Crowther still fighting it out for the 3rd, 4th and 5th of the Pro-Am division. Ura Larkinen is gapped Cooper a little bit now, so I don't think that's going to be of any concern between those two. I think Ura is looking to get that car to the end and win the Pro-Am. You can just see him there in the background. Comfortable gap to the cars behind him. As we enter the final lap of the race, this is it. Can Liebold hold on to the win against Logan McKinsey? Final lap. So Liebold, McKinsey, Winter, your top 3. Larkinen, Akers, and Crowther, your top 3 in the Pro-Ams. And Hurley, your top 1 in the amateurs. Cooper just lost the place to Dan Mould. Looks like he went off track as well to make the move happen. Possibly. It's hard to see where the extra pace is going to come from here from Logan. Zach Liebold does have the fastest lap of the race by 1/100th of a second over Sven Winter. It's 15.85 to 15.86. Logan's best is a 15.97. So the pace is there from a lot of the drivers. It's just being in the right place at the right time. Logan to come into the final chicane is not going to make it happen, but Zach Liebold is going to take the win for this feature race over Logan McKinsey. Sven Winter home in 3rd. Ura Larkinen wins the Pro-Ams in 4th. Arthur Fertel on his own comes home in 5th place with Dan Mould, followed by Cooper Akers in 6th and 7th with Alex Murphy. 8th place, John Brown in 9th. Dick Crowell top 10 with Passex behind 11th and Tony Walker 12th. Neil Stevenson, there he is, on his own in 13th with Kev Aylett. Coming following him up in 14th with JB Dejay. In 15th, Peter McIntyre, the wild card, just running around on his own still. Ahead of amateur driver Paul Hurley. As they roll round the start-finish line here. There we go. There's Paul Hurley as he completes his lap. And Dan Lewis is he a lap down? He might be. Right, that is your race over. Whoa, staggeringly good match going on all over the place. Let's check out the results from the feature. Feature and results. Paul Hurley, the winner. Fortunately, no other drivers in there this week. In the Pro-Ams, this was a good one. Ura Larkinen and Cooper Akers, top 2. Dick Crowther 3rd. Miklas Paschak in 4th. Tony Walker 5th. Neil Stevenson 6th. Kevin in 7th. And JB Dejay in 8th. And Dan Lewis a lap behind now on 9th. Still classified as Stu Gibbons. Unfortunately, won't collect any points there. Finishing 20th. That was Demis Tigelshaw, who didn't actually take the grid in both races tonight, unfortunately. The pros. Zach Liebold, the winner, by 0.18 over Logan McKinsey. Sven Winter comes home in 3rd. Well, first one 4th. Dan Mould in 5th. Alex Murphy very close behind Dan Mould there in 6th place. And John Brown keeping tabs on them, also in 7th place. So that was a frenetic race at the beginning anyway. Now we saw a big crash happen right at the beginning, so we're just going to find out what that was. Paul Hurley went off track on the lead opening lap, but it's going wide. Yep, just got a little bit tangled. I think this is the big one. Stu Gibbons, you just lost it. Oh, bounces off. I mean, it just, this is one of those crashes where he's under braking. He's braking really early as well, but I think the instability, the coldness of the tyres, he's just gone around it. We've seen that a few times this season from Gibbons. We're going to have to start calling it the Gibbons jive or something. Oh, and Dan's got nowhere to go. He's reacted to go left, but Gibbons has kind of gone into that space. Bounced off the wall. That's walloped Dan Lewis back into action. And I think he's on his brakes, Dan. He's trying to get it stopped. It's come into contact with Daniel Bond into the back. Oh, how lucky was Dan Mould. And I think that was Neil Stevens squeaking through there. JB Dejay getting wrapped up in it as well. Massive crash. See Dan Lewis. So it's just, which is full speed. Oh yeah. How lucky was Dan Mould? You don't actually realise until you watch it back again, is it? It's just yeah. I'm not sure if Dan Mould didn't quite. Fertile went off track. This is probably in church. Oh, there's contact. Yeah, 3 wide sandwich. I think that's Sam Smith and Pashek, and then that's a turn. Ooh. Tell you one thing, that was there was contact going into that with Fertile and Smith, which kind of then pushed it back into the line of Pashek, I believe. And then that car's going left. If he hasn't braked yet, or he's off the brakes, now he's on the brakes. Yeah, and that's just contact on the front left, probably damage. Tell you one thing. Let's have a look at that again. So this is the preceding bit of that corner. So Fertile's on the right side here. It's 3 wide. They're all converging. Arthur's, you gotta say that's probably on Arthur. He's the one who's made contact and taken it 3 wide. That's bounced off into Pashek. And obviously Smith's going across the curb. Contact again on the back of Fertile's car. Pashek can't do anything. He's already on the. Oh, he's off the brakes actually there, isn't he? I'll tell you one thing. There's a 6 and 10 and 7 of the others on that one. I think a lot of that could have been avoided. Murphy running wide. Yeah, fair enough. Pretty standard for everybody, isn't it? We're going to see if... Let's see if I can find when Zach passed. It did sneak in. Zach passed, there is. We'll see how it was done. Was it a slow that's into club chicane? Zach's just got the position there. Oh. I tell you one thing, that's the fastest I've seen anyone go through that chicane and not get lost and not get a slowdown. That's pretty spectacular. Good driving there, Mr. Liebold. And Dan, just losing out on his own. How's he done that? Not Mr. Dan Lewis's finest race at the office, unfortunately. Careful, doing a long way off then. I think it's probably how he lost some places. Oh, big slide in that last corner. He kept out of the wall. Well done, Kev. Yep, everyone's just sneaking away. I just wonder how that happened, but that's how it happened. Shay and Aylett getting feisty with each other. It's kept going on the inside. Oh, that was fun. So, and then he got back on him again. Did JB get a... No, he went wide. And Kevin goes, see you later. I'm having that place back. And then Dan Mould, off track, trying to hunt down Neil Stevenson. Also, Cooper Akers. Not out there, you're not, sir. And Mr. Dan Lewis again. Just get those speed tokens on board. And then the final incident that's been recorded is for another off track for Dan Mould, just on the outside of Village down towards Church. So that was absolutely frenetic. But what we can do is, thankfully, the points should be updated now. So let's have a look at the points at the end of round 7. Paul Hurley moves on to... Now, these are... Before I get ahead of myself here, these are now taking into consideration drop week. So the lowest scoring drop week is now taken off. So people looking at the points from last week might think, oh, I've actually lost points. Nope, because your drop weeks are now in effect. So Paul Hurley is stretching his lead out there of 288 points against Scott Malcolm. So keep that going up there. And Jack Davies 128 points, and Andy Littler 106 at a regular 4 that's been there so far. We'll see more next week. Pro-Ams. That's the wrong one, Kev. This is just too tight to call, isn't it? I think, to be honest with everybody. This is now with drop week. So Tony Walker 441, Nicholas Pashek 433, Cooper Akers 423, Craig Walters 396, Daniel Lewis 380, JB DJ 341, and Kev Ayler 327. Then Neil Stevenson 278. You'd say the top 6, maybe 7, are still in for a shout. It takes a good run. That's a good track to go your way, and I think that's where it could be going. But it's looking very tight up there. Pros. Logan McKinsey stretches the lead down. We saw it was only 6 points at the beginning of the night. He now moves 629 points to 579. Sven Winter jumps above John Brown by 17 points now. And Tom Boyd Cook hasn't moved, hasn't changed much. Zach Liebold jumped up with a good performance tonight, winning that second race to 235. No Douglas tonight. He just plays Dan Mould. Did actually climb in places for competing. He's still on 215. Let's see if there's anyone else that we can shuffle along for any changes. Alex Murphy didn't gain any points tonight, according to that. I might be wrong. So ignore Alex Murphy's one. I think he should have had some points somewhere. Apparently not, for some reason. That's probably just an error somewhere. The teams, which is surely going to be getting hot and contested. 430 points for Sherry, even though that's not the one we wanted to start with. There we go. SRL Green, 793. A big lead starting to expand there, but for John Brown and Daniel Lewis, considering Daniel Lewis did not have a good night at the office tonight. But they expanded their lead over JS Vroom because Neil Stevenson didn't have his greatest night, but he got some points in the second race. As we see him going through there. That's Cooper Akers, actually. And then the JS tryhards of Kev is him and Tom Woodcock. Tom Woodcock has been around for a few nights, but they are still there at 605 points. Mr. Arthur Furtong is owner 579, and the blade designs of Dick Crowther, who had a good night in the office tonight, and Stuart Gibbons, who will not want to look at that turn 2, I think it was, incident again. From that race, he's had that a few times now, but hopefully not anymore. Sherry Eastport was Sven Winter for 30 points, so 6th place. The Pretenders move up another place to 338. So that's just Paul Hurley doing a fine job there. And then we see next year Green, Luma Motorsport, North Sim Racing putting on some numbers. We will see a new team popping up there, which is the Hydro Race Racing Forces. They've now picked up 168 points from their 2 races. Hopefully we'll see them as a full team on track next week. Whew. I don't know about you guys. That was absolutely great racing of a very different nature. It was Zolder, and the weeks before that were very much side by side, lots of action, lots of overtaking opportunities. This is more about the mind game. How do people overtake? How do you set up the overtake? How do you force people into a mistake? It's all a challenge, and that's the key thing. And that was the 7th round of our 10 rounds of season. We've got 3 rounds to go. Next week is the VIR North course. A good track. Again, another tough one for overtaking, but there is some key points where you can overtake on. Alton Park without Britons is round 9, and Summit Point Raceway is round 10. So next week, be sure to join us for the best touring car action on a Friday night, which hopefully is by myself, presenting the broadcast here. So yes, hope you've enjoyed tonight's racing. I certainly have from the booth. My name's been Kev, so I hope to see you all in the following weeks for the final weeks of the season. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a showdown to watch. Be sure to tune in on Friday night, so 11 PM, to see the action as it happens on SRL TV. Good night, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.